Customer that calls in that says, hey, I'm having speed problems, and you want to do a real-time troubleshooting on them, I'll show you the method that I use that uses Preseem to take a look at their data in near real time. So I'll pull up the account in Sonar. I will click on the network tab, and then the first thing I'm going to do is I kind of check and see that, all right, I see that his tower status right here, Easily East AP, is green, which means the tower itself does not appear to be reporting congestion. And I'm going to click on the Open Preseem button. You guys have a login for this. And when you click it from the customer dashboard, it's going to take you directly to that subscriber. So we can see right here, we're looking at subscriber 1493. It's going to put his name in there. It's going to show you the tower he's connected to. It's going to show you the plan that he has. So he's got a 25 megabit plan. We shape a little bit higher to give him a little bit more bandwidth than what they pay for. And then you get the three columns here. The left column, this is the tower itself. Middle column is the AP on that tower. And in this case, Easily East Tower only has the Easily East AP, so these two graphs should be identical. And then the far right, which is what I'm kind of caring about here, is the individual customer. And the first thing I take a quick glance at is the latency. And I'm looking to see if we've got continuous red, above 100 milliseconds latency for that customer. And if we do, does the tower match it? And one of the nice things Preseem does here is in this customer section, the white lines is the customer, and then the black line in the background is the tower superimposed underneath it. So you can tell at a glance when the customer is experiencing high latency is the tower doing it so at the same time. The other thing that Preseem will do is they'll give you these little marks kind of at the top of the latency that'll tell you whether or not they think that is a sector issue if it shows up green, or a subscriber issue if it shows up blue. Subscriber issue meaning they think the problem with latency is inside the customer's home versus the sector itself. So in this case, he's got a couple little periods of high latency here, but it doesn't correlate. You can click and it will draw a line across the entire map for that time period. It doesn't really correlate with high bandwidth use for him, so he looks pretty clean. So I don't think this is a latency issue, so to speak, inside of his house. But to troubleshoot this in real time with him, if you've got the customer on the phone, I will come up to where it says last 2 days. I'm going to change my refresh interval right off the bat to 10 seconds. And then I'm going to click on the quick link of last 15 minutes. And now in every 10 seconds, it's going to update. So he can walk around the house, the customer, and run speed tests. And you will see in essentially real time those tests taking place here under downstream and upstream bitrate. And if we see latency changes as he walks around, and it will also show you sort of what is the baseline inside the house. So if they've got 2 or 3 people that are streaming, you'll see a kind of a baseline probably around 10 or 15 megabits, maybe even up to 20 if it's all high def. And you'll then be able to see what capacity is left in his connection. And at the same time, I'm going to look over and say, all right, what is the tower doing at the same time period? Right now, traffic is very low, but if the tower is 100 to 120 megabits on this particular tower, it's starting to reach its capacity, and you're going to get some kind of overall issues as well. So Preseem will do a very good job of trying to shape his bandwidth based upon what he's trying to do, but this lets you get a real quick dashboard to help him in real time. Let's take a look at a customer that does have some latency problems in it. So we look at this particular customer right off the bat. He's connected to a tower that is in the yellow status, which means it does have some latency issues that might be customer related, might be tower related. And again, it's going to load up in the last 2 days, and you can see right off the bat that you've got these periods of very, very high latency with this particular customer. What's interesting is when you then go down and look at the downstream bandwidth for those same time periods, you're not doing anything. This is real low, under 2 megabit bandwidth. So this is probably some device far away in their house that is streaming audio, that is not noticing the issues, but just has a real crappy internet connection back to it. If his bandwidth use were real high during this period, or if he were telling you, hey, I'm at this time, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm trying to stream something and it's just not working. Well, now that tells me that device is just in a really poor position. If you want to take a closer look at this time period, we can click and hold, drag across, and now it's going to load up just this one time period across. So the sector during that time, not too bad, not doing a whole lot of bandwidth because this is 3 o'clock in the morning. We can see his individual device in his house. The way it, it kind of peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys. That is almost certainly something doing audio or video streaming. It loads a lot, fills the buffer, and then plays it out, and then requests more, fills the buffer, and then plays it out. This is a kind of a classic sort of sawtooth pattern of video or audio streaming. But whatever that device is, it's way too far away in the house from his AP, or just getting hammered with interference. So those are the two kind of key indicators I look at with sonar. We can go into him with a real time as well, and if he were to call and say, hey, I want to troubleshoot whatever device this is, right now that device is not having issues, so I would say, all right, go find something far away, start streaming, and let's see if that latency peaks up, and then turn that device off, and then go do another device, and then eventually we'll see a device that catches in here that you start seeing these high latency peaks. You can say, all right, whatever that was that you just turned on and started streaming with, that's the culprit that's causing the issue. And it's very likely this customer is the customer that is causing this entire AP to go into the yellow because the AP is seeing all this latency in Preseem and saying something's going on. I'm going to go ahead and just mark this entire AP as having latency issues. So those are the tools that I use real quick to troubleshoot with a customer in real time.